Connecting and going live to only Twitch exclusively now. The occasional seasonal TikTok is broken up with Streamlabs thing has happened. Although I should hear back within 24 hours about whether or not my weird Streamlabs desktop access to live stream to TikTok Live using Streamlabs gets reinstated. It usually does whenever this hiccup is encountered. And then I gotta set up everything all over again. Oh wait, I meant to do this first. DJ Zed, reintroduce yourself to everyone. And please, dear audience, take a moment to acknowledge and recognize the most recent follower to the show on TikTok. We may just stay TikTok exclusive and just use Twitch as a repository. I did like having Twitch Live. It was a bit of a headache. Now, if I see a chat, it's because it's the only person in chat and it's here on Twitch. That's good. TikTok would get me a lot of viewers, but they would only stay for 0.78 seconds. Get a lot of viewers on Twitch. Why am I stuck on the desktop portal of infinity? Welcome back, desktop portal of infinity, and your glorious standard widescreen infinityness. DJ Zed, take it away as we click through a couple of screens and then redo an intro. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and good night to you, friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the almost beginning, middle of the start of the middle of the beginning of the start of the show. Let me first of all put this all in performance mode. Boop. Okay. DJ Zed, where are you? Are you at 33.3? Almost. There you are. Now I don't have to yell. Welcome to the madness, friends. Welcome to a different, not so new, previously used, reformatted interface as we stream exclusively back on Twitch, only exclusively. Although I bet TikTok will be like, wait, I take you back in a hot minute. It usually does. After it goes, no, I've unlogged you. You can't sign back in. I don't think that I've been flagged for any actual violations, especially since I just haven't streamed in like a week and a half. That is DJ Zed in the background from a playlist of imaginary 1 or 2 or maybe 3 tracks, from which out of there's dozens and dozens and dozens, maybe even hundreds in this list, and I don't know if I've finished yet or if I have completely compiled all of the loose DJ Zed files into one big giant folder that is this thing. But that was the idea. That was the try, the attempt, the good old college effort. So it might be upwards into the hundreds. It might be like 97. 1 or 2 or maybe 3 of them out of all of them. Occasionally, but not always, flag some of, but not all of, the audio listening algorithms that are like, yay, they're not playing anything. On Twitch, it'll just mute that segment until it's like, oh, it's playing something else. But it's all the same stuff that I'm always playing. It's just the DJ Zed tracks that I made for like the year and a few months that I had the subscription, for the full version of that particular app, whatever it's called. Which I've been contemplating getting again, but other things always come up first. Like the price of eggs. But I digress. I have said what I had to say politically today, if I may be so bold as to suggest that. Already on my podcast over the course of the last day and a half. And I'm not quite, but almost am ready to dive into a little bit of writing workshoppy bits, which will also include jumping back into Call of Duty and checking what's going on. For the satisfaction, the itching of the need to know, and the satisfaction of itching that need to know and knowing where it's going on with Call of Duty. Is there still a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle extended event going on, or what? Which we're about to do first. Then we're gonna maybe play a match, and then we're gonna write. We're actually gonna write because it's workshop writing Wattpad, formerly known as Wattpad Wednesdays. Let's switch over here on the. Let's switch the cam. How messed up is this cam? This cam covers it, but you can now see that I'm above the iPad, my face. Then we'll go over here. Boom. We're gonna write a little something. I had something in mind already for the writing, for the saying. For which I'm going to pause DJ Zed's music because none of it is really appropriate except for the Call of Duty music. But we're not going to play that now just to not infringe on any of that. I just want to say this thing. And shout out to Colm Holmes, the last person to smash that follow button. At least, I think. Join me, dear friends, in the theater of your imagination. In the act of imagining, actively, in the imagined notion of a future cyberpunk nightmare of a cybernetic world, so dystopian that our everyday jobs, no matter what they are, ultimately boil down to and become the playing of video games as the rendering of the services required in the virtual space to virtually spar between injured parties that have thrown a digital gauntlet at one another. And that it's all, I mean, first I think of it, the first time I had this thought inside of a fan-fictional, cybernetically enhanced sci-fi action-adventure dystopian book universe of my own creation in the future. And a re-engineered, reimagined, repurposed reconceptualization of the very game, but also staying true to exactly what it is and always has been, which is milsim, soccer, blood sport, soccer-like team deathmatch blood sport, and Warzone being the battle royale side of that yin yang, right? Imagine a world in which the world's most elite forces, all of which are like all of whom are Call of Duty, milsim, team deathmatch, and or Warzone side battle royale expertise professionals, in a world in which our brains are actually, we're in self-denial and pretending to live as cybernetically enhanced people on real planets that we are slowly polluting, like a 90s Matrix retcon where that's what we voted for instead of that's what the aliens cybernetic robot evil things, not aliens, we built them. Instead of the robots did this to us, we built the robots and this stuff for ourselves for fun, and we voted it in. We wanted it. But we live in a fantasy world where we think we are real people who can choose to embed ourselves in a cocoon-like egg, sleep, cybernetic pod device in order to trip the light fantastic and dive the depths of many levels of time dilated, time leveraged, that's my word, virtual experience realms, wherein we all kind of concede that it's sort of really us, but it's a hologram of us. But we all pretend also that it's really us and we're really out there in the world, even though all these worlds are iterations of completely made up nonsense, many of which are rooted in and inspired by the games that we are busy playing here on this live stream channel. Reimagined and reintegrated into the Zeppoverse literary fictional universe as needed, as we go through it, as we go by the process. Imagine, if you will, joining me in such a world, inserted specifically inside the world of Call of Duty is the leading flagship of all the sort of worlds within worlds of this world. And many people get lost in it, and or it's their day job. Now, the baseline conceit is we think that's us for reals, but it's not. Don't tell them. Don't tell the characters that, right? There is a place wherein any of the characters you may or may not have already begun reading about, because there are sample chapters and there have been for quite some time available on the Wattpad. You may or may not have read about some of them, but welcome to the world with fresh eyes, as if you were a very first time viewer / reader / participant in the experiment. You may also want to dip your toes in the World Building Podcast, which is one of the many podcasts that is the Almost Daily Zencast, recorded and published and distributed using Sprecher.com. I only use a funny voice that sounds slightly Austrian and or Germanic there because that is the spelling of the word, and it is indeed, I believe, intended to mean the German word Sprecher. It is. I don't know if the company is German or not, or American or what, but I don't care. It is the thing I've been using because it's been the most maximally efficient and useful and accessible and relatable system out of all the ones that I shopped out, that I'm like, I can kind of afford that, sort of. Cinch the bell. Speaking of which, we just hit some sort of anniversary as the turnaround over on when I've paid for a year's worth of services through Sprecher.com has just clicked. Recently, not right this hot second, and I kind of was ready for it, but I kind of totally wasn't. And I kind of was delusionally hoping to have been slightly more prepared for it, then failed to do any of the things needed to do so. In terms of my, let us say, personal, budgetary, fiscal readiness. I'm fine, but I'm also oh my God. Welcome to the real world of self-published, self-promoted, self-produced public oratory, public discourse punditry. And thank you for those of you who tune in. Whether you tune in here, whether you may have had tuned in on the TikTok prior and now can't because TikTok Live has disconnected itself from my Streamlabs, although it might come running back, begging me to come once more. Sorry, that was worded poorly. Begging me to go live once again. Because usually that just happens because I haven't logged on in a really long time and some sort of internal refresh timer times out. And it's like, oh, well, you better just get your credentials re-credentialed. And all you got to do is, press this button asking us to reconsider approving you through Streamlabs. And then, tomorrow I might be, by this time tomorrow or sooner, I might be able to log back in and stream once more dualistically to both Twitch and TikTok, which would just mean I would have a lot of extra effort jumping over to, as we are now familiar, the Infinity desktop portal of, look at now, it's one portal only instead of, you guys missed the dual output screens? Do you get what I'm saying? Anybody who's actually ever watched more than one episode of this knows what I'm talking about, but I don't know how many people of those there are. Welcome to you, if you are here and listening to the sound of my voice. Now we are only literally only streaming to good old Twitch. And curiously, not streaming. We may go through a technical realignment, just as like we're streaming to them exclusively only. I might want to reconsider reviewing some of my settings just to see if it doesn't give me a better. We are still strongly excellent. This is dipping lower than I prefer, but I also don't want to just chop things up. What are we doing? Well, I did just sort of take we were in the background. I don't need to over-explain things, but we were kind of patiently waiting for that to finish. And it is now actually complete. And I did tease we were about to launch some Call of Duty. Just to tie the game itself into this world of me writing about a future world in which... Imagine a future world, if you will, where so much happens, so much change happens, that we are forgotten. This, our internet. It's all locked away because of various yet to be written about, yet to be completely fleshed out, but already sort of gamified in my mind. Contingency plans by different characters to, in various ways or another, capture, record, demonstrate, preserve, keep available, in functional, available examples of our internet, our world of internet, as we sort of vaguely understand it. But that those were hitherto not part of, like, as they were part of these maybe a particular collab of characters that I'm architecting, defining and inventing in my mind, even as we have this discussion, but also recently in hints and places written all over previously published pages. Sorry, I'm combating hiccups and burps and debating whether or not to acknowledge it, and there you go. Hydrate, my friend, hydrate. But in this world, like, what they were doing, they were not doing in, like, public view. They were not promoting it, advertising it. They were doing it somewhat reticently. Not necessarily covertly, but just sort of buried deep in the background of all their other business activities that no one noticed. And we didn't notice. And then, in a fictional future near would be quickly the past history that has not happened yet, as of this perspective that I sit with you now at, and that I have not really truly written out because it's all meant to be like lost chapters from an otherwise complete book, forgotten passages of chunks of events that are only vaguely understood as having been this or that or the other. And by that I mean a 3-part global infrastructurally devastating, near societal collapse like intra-national, intra with an INTRA, intra dash or hyphen national, like globalized conflict that's orchestrated to bring peak fervor and near near frictionless indefinite perpetuity, except somebody, some rebellious son of a gun or another, wink wink nudge nudge, that's a fun reveal that even I don't know the answer to technically right now because I'm just sort of thinking it out loud now as a new caveat. Imagine a world where, and if we're going to go with like literary references that are to be homaged because they are in part responsible for my real world like inspiration to have had this sort of storytelling impulse. But like the infinite warfare as referenced inside of the Ghost in the Shell universe, if you take the whole thing as one giant bundle of universe as IP, somewhere in there, there's a particular like season long, or I think they turned it into a movie. They took all the episodes and just sort of trimmed the widgets that made them episodes just enough to make it flow like a movie, which is good. It's a good movie. I watched that first and then went to go watch the series and went, wait, no, it's the same thing, just separated out now. So 20 times more episodes, more commercial breaks. But I should watch one version or the other again soon. I want to try and rewatch as much of the Ghost in the Shell content. Real, honest, personal endorsement and recognition that it is fundamental. And I'm not talking about the American, what people think of as the American movie, because that's a misrepresentation to a certain extent. Do you watch the opening credits? I did recently watch it. I forget where. It was, I think, recently available to watch for free on some, to me, what I would consider relatively not well-known streaming platform, the name of which currently escapes my recollection ability completely. But I mean no disrespect by that. I don't remember what platform it was. Is there such a thing called Plato or Plato or Pluto for free? I remember like free is like in the graphic. But I digress. Having seen it, I believe, having gone to the theater to see that when it came out and seen it in one way, shape, or form or another. And I think it might be and or has been in recent past and may no longer be available like on demand on my cable service. That movie is not what many of the people who are angsty and salty and angry about it, because it was made in partnership with the same, if not all, but a lot of the same entities and individuals involved in much of the body of work. And it is a complex of work. Like it's a body of work that is complex, complicated, and can be described when taking it, all of it in its entirety, from the very, very, very first instance of what can be considered an animated anime film, although maybe it's not that, maybe it's just an animated film. It is a world wherein like certain things are understood but contingent on having viewed the original animated movie. If you've never seen the original animated movie, then there's a lot you don't understand. And all of the rest of the body of work is sort of contingent on that. by nature of it being an expansion of the universe based entirely on that first film, which is quite specific. And that, as a long-time fan, at the time that I first heard of and thought, I think I'll go see this in theaters, of the Japanese animated film known as Ghost in the Shell, I have to assure you, the live action movie that is considered the quote American movie is a beautifully constructed and honorable homage to the body of work that comes before it and its own standalone mini complex of narrative storytelling about the characters, and artfully depicted in true alignment and with both spirit and its letter, both the spirit and the letter of the visual representation of what you would call the proverbial law. And what many people didn't understand, why am we on this tangent? I don't know, but here we are. What many people did not understand is that the Major is a brain in a bucket, and that bucket is within that world, has always been within that world from the very first instance, shaped very much like not an Asian. Hello! Thank you, Jade Turntable. Or something. Do you really think that that's making or breaking all the difference? Do people come for the emotes, for the custom emotes? And if they don't see them there, then they just flee, aghast in horror? No, but it certainly adds charm. Alright, that's fair. At any rate, I was in a rant. My rant was had something to do with Major Mochiko of Ghost in the Shell. Oh, brain in a bucket. Right. I went way out of my way to overtalk about Ghost in the Shell in general and to defend that the live action movie, because the haters and the trolls are just basically, in my humble opinion, wrong. Charm, yes. Lots of charm. That movie, I think, is spot on and does not violate lore. And their criticism of the way that the cast looks is wrong, in as much as that the character, Major Mochiko, that leads that team of officers is a robot with a human brain inside. And that robot has always looked like what that robot looks like. And that actress is kind of spot on for it. My cam is lagging a bit, you believe? Well, thank you. Yeah, it has a tendency of doing that sometimes, and I'm wondering if I need to change some settings. You like Ghost in the Shell anime and movie, but you are a basic ignorant normie. Well, if you've seen the original the Japanese animated film, then you're not really all that ignorant of what I just am speaking of, because you've seen the original film. And you know she's just a brain in a box. A long time ago. You don't remember it? Oh, my friend J Turntable. May I give you... Hold on. What are we looking at? I know that I'm laggy. Oh, I'm starting soon. Get over here. Greetings and hello, my friend of the stream, J Turntable. Thank you for being here. May I give you a multiple thumbs up, real life robot and or human endorsement? You should go out of your way to watch the original animated movie, which I don't know. I've heard some people argue it's not anime, that it's just an animated film, the way insert your other favorite animated film name here would be considered an animated film and not an anime. But other people are like, no, it's definitely anime because blah, 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 blah. I don't really care either way. But if you don't remember how it goes, and you haven't seen it in a long time, oh, if Crunchyroll doesn't have it, you won't see it, huh? Fair is fair. I don't know if it's on Crunchyroll. And if you've searched for it on Crunchyroll already and have not found it, then you already know the answer to that. I wonder if my laggy webcam is my webcam's fault, my iMac's fault, in a way that I've got a tweak in my iMac separate from Streamlabs desktop settings, or my Streamlabs desktop settings. That has nothing to do with the other things at all. It's just a completely brand new question that I feel compelled to ask out loud. You'll check again, but last you knew it wasn't, which was more than a year ago now. However, fair enough. You know what I'm gonna do? Oh, here, let's hold on. Let's do it this way. Let's take my ugly mug off the webcam face, because you know what I could do. We can check together right now. I can check. Welcome. I'm no longer dual streaming with the dual vertical and also horizontal output. So now my Infinity desktop portal of Infinity is way more infinitudinous. Infinitude. There's a way to pronounce that correctly. Infinity, infinitude, infinitudinous. Too much infinity and beyond. Whoa, I shouldn't say beyond. Jump through it with me, though, this portal. Hello, multiple viewers. Welcome to my robot voice. I am here. I am a kapow robot. Kapow, kapow. Robot, robot, robot. Berg. Emotes. Lots of emotes. What? We're going to look for something right now. We're going to look up and I should have this, like, the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of you, the ghost of, the ghost and Molly McGee. Is that an old 50s film in black and white? The Ghost in the Darkness, the Ghost and Mrs. Muir. No, that's the other one. I've seen that. Well, I've seen some version of the Ghost and Mrs. Muir. The Ghost Rider, no, the Ghost, I think it's just Ghost in the Shell, not the Ghost. There it is. Ghost in the Shell. 2017 Netflix. That's the action-adventure movie. And then there's Ghost in the Shell, the 1995 film. Which may just very well be... Look at this. Look at this, friend. It's available. I'm not going to push play, because that I cannot do. But I think we can make the investigative recommendation. I've never been to Plex. I've never heard of Plex before. This is new to me. The last time I looked for it, it wasn't available. And I know you just said Crunchyroll is the only way to go, or some such. Do I have a camera? We should add a camera here. I don't have a camera. Display Mac. Let's add the camera, bro. Come here, webcam. Video capture device, add. Webcam. It's going to blank out the... Whoa! Hello, friends. Welcome. There is always a slight delay. You'll have to forgive me. Okay. Put myself right there. Oh, I'm covering up part of this. IMDb. Let's read the IMDb listing. This is fundamental. If you don't remember how this goes, if you haven't seen it in a really long time, please buy yourself a copy. If you do not, listen, I'm going to go this hard. Hold on. I don't want to sound like a jerk. I need to stop whatever audio is playing. Stop audio. Stop. Don't sue me. No. Worse. There. What's going on there? Internal server whoa. That one doesn't like the world. Pluto TV. Stop it. Stop whatever you're doing. Muted, good. And you can pause. There's going to be a commercial or something. That's apparently available here. I think we can watch it here. Oh, we need to pause that biznatch. Pause it, bro. On Pluto. And what is this one? Ghost in the Shell on Tubi. I think. Let's make sure it's muted. Mute. And pause. I can't be displaying that shit. But check this out. Tap to unmute, mute. Can this stop playing? Oh my god. If you don't remember how this goes, if you haven't seen this in a long time, and I'm like I just said, I'm gonna go this hard. I'm gonna go harder. If you don't currently now, maybe you did at some point, but gosh bless it. Let's go back over here because it's Google Display. Let's find out about this. Oh yeah. Well, we don't. If you don't own this on your shelf, and I used to, and I think I may no longer, and I might be over at my brother's, or maybe I still have it and it's sitting downstairs somewhere. But it might be like mine might be a Blu-ray, and I may not have it anymore. In a place I may no longer have a thing I can play a Blu-ray on. But Xbox is supposed to be able to play movies, and it's been a hot minute, but I've been meaning to put effort into getting the original Ghost in the Shell. There's also a, quote, Ghost in the Shell 2.0 DVD. It's the original movie with a few scenes enhanced / updated with a little bit of CGI, I think. And then there's a bunch of, like, sequels and full television show with multiple seasons, like, collections that you could stumble across. It used to be I can go into a big box store and almost for dead certain find the original movie, the original Japanese, with subtitles and with, blah, blah, blah. The original release of the animated film Ghost in the Shell. Apparently it's on Amazon. Apparently you can buy something on Crunchyroll for $26. That's one of the newer shows. This is going to be Ghost in the Shell, the new movie. Oh, this is maybe the one thing I have not ever watched. The new movie, but there's an eBay used for $2.99. Ghost in the Shell 25th Anniversary Edition Blu-ray. Something I don't remember right now, and I don't think the answer is thumbs up, check, positive, yes. Blu-ray. If I slap a Blu-ray disc in my Xbox, will it be like, yeah? and I got a Blu-ray player. Let's go, whoop, and then like play it so I can watch it on my Xbox screen, or no. If I plop in, if I reached back over to my bookshelf and grabbed a movie, if I magically had insert whatever version of Ghost in the Shell I have ever perhaps mysteriously owned on insert whether it was Blu-ray or DVD or both, and they were just both magically right there, even though I didn't think they were, because I don't think they are. But if they were, and I could reach over and be like, test it, without, like, not live streaming, I would shut down the live stream right now and be like, thank you, goodbye, I'm going to now watch this. And if Tubi and or Pluto, this other one, 5000 aired right the F out on Plex, so maybe that's a dead fish. Dead fish. Maybe that's a dead. Oh, I hope it's not a fishing account. That's just IMDb. I was gonna be like, let's read about it, and then it did this thing where it's like it's stuck on this video. Bye IMDb. I think you can watch this. There's gonna be like 1, 2. There's little white dots that I can see. 3, probably 4 commercial breaks. So worth it. But honestly, get yourself a copy. Have I belabored the point too much? Yes. Did I mean every ounce, every word, every moment of it? Have I signed into this before? I don't remember which email I might have used. I can't tell how many commercials would be here. Is this gonna make it like commercial free? Get the fuck out. Maybe Tubi is the way to go, bro. But do yourself the favor, please. Do it on a day you're like you don't gotta deal with anything. If you've got like a life partner, a spouse, a girlfriend, a partner, a boyfriend, whatever it is, because I'm now speaking generically at the universe. Because I'm imagining my comments being listened to / watched / received by the characters in my own book series in a future where they'd never heard of this before, and they live in a world they live in a world, a dystopia, a cybernetically enhanced future dystopian world. They don't realize it's dystopian because they've coddled themselves into the Matrix in a sort of we wanted this kind of way. As opposed to, and I don't mean to get sued by the Matrix. Erase. I don't mean the Matrix, but my own version of it, which in many ways is got influence and inspiration drawn from this, because in their world of being brains in a jar, they reduplicate everything in a, like, in other words, the simplest way to put it, the Zeppoverse is a place where, oh, look at all those red line dots. I wonder how much I should probably stop and reboot the world. And maybe pick a different loadout. Because sometimes it's got as much to do with the loadout as anything else. I have an iPad Pro chat show, but I don't have just my webcam chat show. What was I saying? The world. Oh, we're gonna fire up the Xbox next. To include Call of Duty in the thematics, as that we then settled in to actually work on writing. You're in the middle of a monster fight on Monster Hunter Wilds, so your responses will be delayed. Jay Turntable, I appreciate that, but bro, play and enjoy your own game. I say, I can't be in the middle of a monster fight or a Call of Duty match. Let me copy. This is perfect, actually. Did that show up? Why? Oh, that's not in chat. Why didn't that come up? I'm going to copy paste what you just wrote. You watch what's on Crunchyroll series. It was a prequel. Ah, cool. I'm gonna go to actual Crunchyroll one of these days. Hold on. Let me find the right. No, I don't want this. Oh, you know why? Because we were here and there's no chat box here. Let me open up the chat box. Jay Turntable, real life human, apparent friend of the show, and I think fellow gamer, fair, yes, playing currently Monster Hunter. And I presume, since you are on Twitch, you're also a fellow streamer? Let's find out what Twitch has got to say. Shout out to fellow gamer and friend of the almost daily variety gaming live stream show Extravaganza, J Turntable. They are playing Dragon Age: The Veilguard. But you just said you're in the middle of a Monster Hunter Wilds fight, so that's fine. My response to your statement, J Turntable, with all due respect, and no offense intended, when you game your game, play whatever it is and focus on it. By all means. And while I appreciate a drop visit, coming in and shouting out and saying hi and making a recommendation, it is valid, and making a very real observation of like, oh, hey, my cam is a little glitchy. I don't know if it's because it was or was not in performance mode. I don't know if it was or was not. Because of settings that need to be reset now that it's only single streaming. I don't know if it was or was not because I've got it set to too high of a resolution and I could finish it. Oh, that's the thing I should look at. Where is this webcam? This can go away. The webcam frame is the frame. Delightful. iPad Pro, hidden. Webcam. Actual root source of the webcam. Settings. 950 by 540. It's not set to some ridiculously high setting. I don't know if it would work faster or look better if I set it to a higher or lower setting. But if I change anything right here, I'm gonna have to resize the bejesus out of every scene in whichever thing it is. So there's that. But also there's just also a delay. Like there's a delay between when you type something in your keyboard onto my chat and when I see it. And then there might also be a gap between like when it shows up in my chat and then when my eyeballs lock onto it, because sometimes I'm distracted. And let me drop something that I wrote at somebody and then I realized I needed to copy paste this for myself. By default, and I mean this sincerely and with all due respect, and I'd say this to anybody, it should be our default operating assumption as viewers when we're in someone else's live stream that they got to focus on the game and will answer to chat in between moments of bouts of activity in the game, right? I worded it earlier, and it was someone I was visiting as a viewer. Different person whose name I don't remember right now. I didn't copy paste that over. So I was basically just agreeing because they had said something to the effect of like, I can only respond to chat. And I was like, I identified with it and was agreeing with it because I have found myself saying that right here on this live stream as I'm trying to dive into Call of Duty, I'll be like, by the way, once the match starts, I'm not going to look at the completely different other world of text happening over there on my Streamlabs desktop. Because I can't. Because I got to focus on the game. Otherwise, I'll suck. And I was like, yep, don't worry about it. To this other creator, because they said something to the same effect. And of course, I said that, and they were in the middle of a match. I don't know when they may or may not have come back to read it, because that match went on for really long, because it was one of those multiple round things, and I left. But something I've forgotten to do is get tea, to make tea, to have tea. These are all empty. So that I can chit-chat and not scream and yell. And, to offer my throat the delightful refreshment feeling. But also, that price has gotten way too dang high. At any rate, dear friend of the show, if you're live streaming right now on your channel, whatever game it might be, Monsters World, New, Hunters, The Wild, whatever it's called, do that. If you want to be my audience member and come visit, I would humbly suggest, crazy thought, that you do it when you're not in the middle of live streaming your own gaming content on your show. So as to not have to worry about your response time in either arena, and so that you can perform the best you can on your game. Is that crazy? I don't stream currently. Oh, okay. Well, I won't be able for another couple of weeks. Fair enough. That's a different issue. Fair enough. If I'm gonna, like, for example, one of the, I guess I'm struggling with, and let me give you some backstory for me. I wish I had grown up being an early adopter of all the technologies conceivable and related to live streaming, so that I could say I was on the forefront of it from the very beginning of gaming, since we ever had video games and internet. I wasn't. I wish I had. I want to write a sci-fi action adventure story that sets a made-up character, which I'm going to use and toy with later on in another different book series in the future of his future, right? But I want to write his backstory as if he had, from like 1985 or 84 onwards, been the leader, the thought leader, and the forefront, and maybe even, dare I say, the innovator that defines the very idea of live streaming for a fictional world on a fictional timeline, in a retconned, adjusted, fictionalized, exaggerated, backfilled, near real world and history, in the starting in the decades of the late 70s through the 80s and 90s into this new millennia. Which is a great big crazy long arc if you think about it. I mean, I could summarize it all in a montage, which I might have just evoked in some people's imaginations, but maybe not. If you want to listen to me talk and ramble and occasionally play video games as if I was a radio show while you play video games, that's fine. I just feel bad because I would never do that. And I feel guilty, I guess. Makes me feel weirdly entitled and also like undeserving. Like, because if I'm going to play, like, for example, whether it's Call of Duty or any of the RPGs or that we've already played and played a first impression of, or played a few of the opening beats or chapters of, or the opening quests, or any of the ones that we've got sitting in kind of a backlog of new games like Sniper Elite French Resistance that we haven't actually ever played, that we want to do a first impression review of, or old school awesome delights that we treated ourselves like No Man's Sky. I believe I bought. I could be imagining things, but I believe I bought a physical disc of No Man's Sky. Or maybe I've always wanted to and it's just been sitting on the... No, maybe I haven't. Oh, I know. I bought... I don't know why I did this, but I bought a physical disc of World of Warship Legends. And apparently Battlefield 5. I might want to go and get No Man's Sky. Especially if I ever find it on super duper deep dish discount. Now I'm hungry for deep dish Chicago style pizza. I curiously do believe I have, speaking of which, because I went on a weird collection, I have a Monster Hunter World, but it's a different game in the wrong box. I have basic, probably already super old, maybe even defunct, no longer working. If it's a live service game, I don't know. It might have been Monster Hunter World, the OG. It's in the Ice World expansion. I don't think it's installed on my Xbox, although it might be. It was at one point installed, and I think even free updated to this Frozen Frost, whatever the freezing update they did, because they like gave it away. So I might have that. That might be, if I went to go reinstall it, it would give me all of that back now. But anything, and there's a new one that I temporarily, I do believe, install the beta test of some new monsters, but I never played it. And it's now disappeared on me. Let's go look. I don't know. I could be taking out a turn. I'm supposed to be doing a writing workshop, and I'm just considering everything that I've just said something that my characters in the book series are like, in one way, shape, or form, forced to watch where like they don't understand what's going on. Like completely lost. Because they live in such a weird, peculiar future. Like they need to, and they're like, wait, what is this? What is he talking about? And they are, for lack of a better term, forced to consume whatever the entirety of this episode is. Which includes the constant repetitive reference to the invitation to join me in a world where everyone's job is some super sci-fi futuristic interpretation of grinding these games, but in an immersive egg pod, it feels like it's your real reality, and to a certain degree we are pretending delusionally in a level of reality that's the baseline level is still a game, even though we treat it as if it were a physical reality. Okay, I don't know how weirdly slow or sluggish, and I've been teetering on the idea of going, what are we looking for? I've been teetering on the idea of either like cutting the stream off or proceeding to look for whatever the thing was we were just looking for. All the games that we have installed are sitting there. All these ones we cannot use until we move, shuffle things around, and put them on Far Cry, Elden Ring. Doom, the Dark Ages, I'm kind of excited for. And I will juggle things around and maybe uninstall other things to make room for it if it comes down to that. Anthem, I still really want to play one day again. As you guys may or may not realize, I have not played for a hot minute. It's now March 5th, which is weird to me because I could have sworn it was March 3rd. It's now March 5th, 2025. What game were we just thinking of and looking for? Monster Hunter. Do not have it installed. I can, would I guess reinstall it? Also, let's look for it in the store. Just to see what's going on. If I go in the store, update please, and search. Since our friend has brought it up, I've played a little itty bitty time in that Monster Hunter world. Monster Hunter, and is this, I just picked my nose on live stream. International television. Nope, not the same. This always happens. Monster fight on Monster Hunter World Wilds. Okay. I could install Monster Hunter Rise. I think if I stuck, which is not what I have here. It's funny that there's all this going on. I think if I made room, because there's no way, if I try to put this in right now, it wouldn't install because there's no room. There's literally, I would have to uninstall at least a handful of things. This box is a limited edition tin box for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Like this thing over here, which won't let me install if I just try to click on that. That's selling for 40 bucks. That's but what I have is actually Monster Hunter, what does it say? World, which I think was a live service like MMO style version of Monster Hunter property. And it may or may not still be playable. And I may or may not be able to reinstall it. But I have a whole backlog of games there too. Like, for shits and giggles, The Witcher 3. One of those games. It's on my list. Okay, Monster Dead. I'm playing Wilds. I'm trying to chat in the streams. I watch never just solely watch. I'm always doing something, playing a game or watching something. Fair enough. You do you. And don't you rush. Don't worry about it. Focus on the beating the monster. Thanks for splitting your attention. All I'm saying, dear, and please, dear J Turntable, do not be offended or upset by the following statement. I can't deal with that. For me, because I don't understand. And cannot do it and would not ever. Like, if I was going to put on a movie, I'm not going to start live streaming. I'm not going to start playing a video game also. I can't do more than one of the things at a time. It's really weird for me to play a video game and live stream that play, but that I've gotten used to. Because by definition, it's sort of something we're supposed to be trying to do, or like it's what it's built to be. Monitor on output, my mic. Testing. Comms check. Okay. That sounds better and not worse than I thought it would sound. So I'm not saying don't do it. You do what you want. Say hi, come by, be a member of this community. Just forgive me. I don't understand doing it the way you're doing it. I would have to pay attention to the video game. And if I'm paying attention to the video game, I could not listen to a talk show or a podcast or a live stream about someone else playing another video game or a live stream. But I do appreciate you being here, so don't get me wrong. It's bless you. It's you doing it. You're going to do it the way you're going to do it. I guess I'm glad I don't need to hear what's going on your end. I have Rise and Wilds. I see. Right, yes. Oh, no, we already read that. Well, I was playing MWH before I saw your stream, and it's a social thing. For me, it's not fun to just sit and watch or play and not talk to someone. Valid. I get it. The social part is socializing. And yeah, that's why I live stream video gameplay. Here's the 3 reasons why I do any of this. Let me over-explain stuff just for the funsies. And then I realized I did something wrong. I should have gotten dressed, because I am in my pajamas right now. I should have gotten dressed and gone to the store and gotten my favorite tea, as that's an old known, like, identified, asked and answered question problem of, like, I need a cup of hot throat goat and or yoga throat ease, one of the two. And I don't mean to sound weird, it's just they're slippery elm for the vocal cords, and talking for more than 5 minutes at a time without it is suicide. Sorry, that's a terrible word. Erase. Is detrimental to my vocal cord health. And I will eventually run out of vocal cords and then not be able to talk and then have to do it silently. This is a test run also of just daring myself to launch the show with the thematics of, as presented on the iPad, the welcome to the Zeppoverse. Oh, I want to change Wattpad to Writing Workshop Wednesdays. But Wattpad Wednesdays Rough Draft, that works too. Whatever. There's another version of it all somewhere that says the right thing. And the return to the Season 2 grind, as I hear Season 2 is being extended a little bit. There's Wattpad. But I'm already, because I did a podcast episode, and I guess I did a little mini TikTok video recording, and then I muttered to myself a lot offline, and then I've done all this rambling, and I did it all without my tea in a critical, urgent, I should have gone to the store first thing this morning to go get some kind of way, because I knew I'd run out, and I knew I'd want it. I've now put my vocal cords in danger of completely snapping. Not for reals, but like my voice going and then not being able to talk. Yes, that has happened. It's happened before. It's why I got the robot. Hello, Allie writes. Well, Allie, a bunch of silly things have been talked about already, and we're winding down this episode, but allow me to show you what it's all about. If you go there, you can click through there, and it's all about these characters, and it's all set. This is the... It's curious that we just got these images up. Am I blocking the image? Let me put you over here. I take it you write as well, Allie? I might be writing a short story about how I talked myself hoarse and then voiceless, because I'm literally worrying about that right now, like in real time. And also, I might write a short story about how one day I tried to launch a live stream where I was going to present, look at me, I'm an aspiring novelist writing a collection of books all at once, all together, in front of you on live stream, and then couldn't connect to the internet for 48 hours. And just kept trying and then getting disconnected, because that's happened to me, and it's frustrated the living daylights. I gotta go to the store and get tea, though. Allie writes, I don't know if you asked that question and then disappeared. You might have. Sometimes the lag is so bad between when a person writes in their version of the chat box on their end, on their device, and when it gets shown to me in Streamlabs, that I'm sad, because I think they wait just long enough for it to, oh, and now my screen is doing that. It's flashing the green screen. Kapow. That hurts. That punches me in the nose and stings. You're still here, just listening. Well, thanks. Let me try to actually answer your question. What are we writing on this fine Wednesday? I am attempting to, and I've already sort of brain drafted a crazy, loose, rough idea of a, which is now lost in the poofta of history of it already happened in the live stream. An intro to a world, a sci-fi action adventure world in which there's a character, there's a small group of characters whose day jobs are to grind in a virtual, full immersion, high impact, totally safe military simulator video game contest that would be, like some futuristic version of the Call of Duty games when they compete, the pros. There's a pro level league of Call of Duty. There's two. There's the Call of Duty Mobile Professional League that puts on multiple games and contests and convention-y type events throughout the course of the year. For Call of Duty Mobile, like the phone app, like the video game we could play on my iPad, which is where we were logged into iPad for a second there before it fritzed out. And Call of Duty on the Xbox also as a... But then our friend got us sidetracked on a couple of different questions. So we got sidetracked a bit there. No offense to Jay Turntable. But I said earlier, and I want to write a story that maybe invokes this notion that, like, in that world, they, like, respect the gaming action. And it's, like, it's not about, I don't know. They respect the gaming action and they don't divert their attention away from the events of any particular match contest. Because the conflicts, as much as they are like a daily grind all day long, every day, an 8-hour day, they also determine in some way or form or fashion a real world conflict and its like proposed question that needs a solution granted, and the solution being a contest of winning X many games. Insert some number, right? Oh, Jay Turntable drops into the chat saying, "Me sidetracking you? Why, I never." Good job. Most excellent comedy. You're right. I sidetracked myself. And we both enjoyed. I was sidetracking myself quite deeply when Jay Turntable showed up about Ghost in the Shell, because I also want to write like a Ghost in the Shell universe homage fan fiction world that is the world in which those characters all live and have lived and done all the things that they've already done in all the prior property, but then also discover themselves to be like a living memory cybernetic archive of all of that content, and not necessarily it having ever had been real, but like they think it's real, and they get imported into this crossover universe where Call of Duty is global conflict resolution game warfare, and people go to stadiums and play it, and like, hello, from Fortnite to what's that new one that we've played just a tiny bit, Off the Grid, to everything in between. We are all now familiar with the video game convention of a real world, real life, and somehow it's virtual, because instead of, like, I like what they did in Off the Grid, and they go out of their way to set it up in their prolonged introduction, and it's recently gotten some updates since the last time I've played it here on the stream. But the way they introduced the game, you know, you're a real person in that game, and you're playing it in your real life as a real contestant. This battle royale looter shooter extraction game, as if it were a video game, but you're real. And the reason you're half mechanical is because you go through a surgical process, and everyone does to a default, like removal of limbs. But the rest of you is still whatever you consider your original and or recycled, recloned physical body. Imagine a world where you think that's what's going on, but it's all also already virtualized because you are preemptively a brain in a jar that doesn't know that's what's going on. That's what we're writing about, or we're going to. But because I rambled so hard without the critical factor of my wellness brand throat comfort teas of either yoga or the other one, whatever it's called, home. Does it have the word home? I forget what it's called. I have to stop before I completely, even though I've been hydrating, I've got multiple glasses of real liquid water. And so, as I kind of try to stick this landing, whatever I've said, I'm going to try to backtrack and draft up, like re-listen to, rewatch, and draft up a written interpretation of it all, but couched in the viewership being from the perspective of characters in my book series that live in the much further distant future, where they do not know they are just brains in boxes, like human cloned brains, human preserved brains. There's a lot of literature from many places, not the least of which is Ghost in the Shell to begin with, because the character Major Motoko, this is where we went off on a tangent. I went off on explain and to clarify, which I indulged in nerding out about, that what's her name, whatever that actress's name that is in the live action movie, is perfect casting. Because in the fact of the lore of the story, that character, Major Motoko, is not supposed to be all the things that the people were arguing about. She is, in fact, a brain in a robot body with a robot face. That's not, no single inch of that is like original. Like, they didn't pull a RoboCop. That's a full blown. It's its own thing. She's a brain in a meticulously hand or machine nanotechnology crafted, which we might liberally apply the hand part, handcrafted, as in like, of great skill. And she always looked not Japanese as Major Motoko, as the robot, android, whatever you want to call her. Anyway, we've come full circle. And on that note, friends, I thank you. Thank you, J Turntable. Please forgive me for exiting so soon as so many of you have gathered. But if you're new here, please smash that follow button. And if you never have heard of the following book series sample chapters, please consider it all interconnected and intertwined, and head on over to my Wattpad, which, as you can see, oh wait, no, that's my internal reference in my account. If you go to wattpad.com, and don't go to my works unless you have your own account, then you look at your own works. Go to Mr. Zeppo. There's the account name. And look for this. This is my internal list, but you would look for the external version of that list and read as many of the existing chapter series. When I come back, and I don't know how long of a break I might take, because I'm going to have to drum up some kind of decision about going to the store to go get that tea. I'm going to have to evaluate how much damage I've done to my vocal cords, having rambled brusquely and roughly. If I can over-answer or over-respond to Ali Wright's question, what are we working on? 0 Hour is an action-adventure book series that can be summarized as this. A 3-part book series wherein the reader is invited to encounter and explore the central mastermind adventures of planning and deploying, like his one big giant super villain maneuver. But he's not a villain, right? But if he was, it's written, 0 Hour is written as if you are, dear reader, intended to root for the Alphabet Soup special investigative unit that is hot on the trail of this unknown, unidentified, I had another word, but I lost it, and so now my thoughts have derailed. Would-be assailant or fictional character that is being set up to be perceived as, maybe framed is also appropriate, to be perceived as, our next great James Bond villain. Except it's not James Bond, because there's a girl who's in charge of the investigative retinue. But I digress. I'm going to be, this is just a little bit of an intro / teaser episode. I've dabbled with this before. Now, in theory, not just on Wednesdays, but also particularly on Wednesdays, we will stop, drop, and write whatever rigmarole is going on in my head as the ideas incite us. And one trick I might do is to type it into chat first, and then painstakingly copy-paste chat into a Word document. Is that even something I can do? Here's an experimental notion for you. Let's go over here. Never mind what's on Wattpad. Well, please do go read the Wattpad. Wattpad / user / Mr. Zeppo. We'll come back to that in a second. Let me mute my... Well, let me move my webcam over here to this corner. Is it possible? No, I don't think it is. If I go all the way to the top first. Is there a... Ooh. Notepad. Brand new notepad. This is just proof of concept. I'm going to delete it. Or am I? Is it going to look horrible? Oh, it's... The whirligig is whirling. That's an interesting sign. The answer to your question ultimately is many things, varied and interconnected, dear Ali writes. But essentially, you could summarize it as the many adventures of me as a fictional character that was, if this were the past, once doing this, live streaming itself, live streaming video game content, live streaming me rambling. If you'd like to dip your toe into one of the many ways that we're doing this, I humbly invite you, dear Allie writes, because this might truly intrigue you. There is already an entire podcast of having to do with this concept, this show, this experiment. That's my internal logged into my thing. Go to my external. If you go to Sprecher.com/user/the-incorrigible-Mr-Zeppo _7716. I don't know why it got so complicated. It used to be a lot easier. It used to be... Wait, there used to be a... I swear to gosh, there used to be... just Mr. Zeppo. Does that work? That brings us back to this. Okay, cool. But let me go ahead and drop the full-on chat link in chat. That's the unredacted link. But if you go there, hold on, let me show it to you still. If you go there and you click on this big one with the purple, this purple ring, Zeppoverse Perk Series Literary World Building Project. All of this is real, raw, radically first draft, conceptual, like podcast ideas. Like it's an audio blog of storytelling. It's weird. It's diverse. It may or may not make sense at first, but it all weaves things together. And from there, you can expand to some of the other episodes, some of the other shows, if you want. Public profile, boom. Or not. It's a lot of effort. And we were talking about being able to see Ghost in the Shell. Oh, apparently Practical Magic. Now here we go. Ghost in the Shell is getting ready to play back over here on Pluto. And or on Tubi. Which, I guess, those are the two places you can watch it right now. That's the live action movie, I believe. But I'm going to go ahead and close those out because I'm not going to watch that anytime soon. The important sort of trippy ass part there that I wanted to like utilize, which I'll sort of pin on the corkboard and make that the pin that we'll try to land the ending here. It's like, imagine, if you will, a world where you don't really... society has evolved into this while simultaneously forgetting about everything that happened before the year 2028. Right? Because between the years 2025 and then, there's been a great triple global war conflict cycle. And just like we had World War I and World War II, and we're now dreading World War III, I propose, imagine a period where, boom, we knock out World War III, and then we think we've reset, and then the Great War. Another Great War, and another Great War. And then the world after that, starting in 2029, rebuilds completely and entirely from that. And oh look, someone that's not a real person that's here to get banned because they're copy-pasting boilerplate content that violates terms of service. They have been warned. Then now she'll be banned. Boom. I digress. Anyways, they live so deep in a we built for ourselves a happy, good matrix, if I could say that without getting sued. I think I've diversified it and made it uniquely real. That they live in this double blind of thinking that imagine I'm sitting here thinking this is really me, and I'm really in my body of flesh and bone and doing this. And then from here I can go out into the world wearing reality augmenting VR glasses and all the whatnot, and then engage with the real world that is digitally enhanced. And believing that it really is my actual flesh and blood. When in fact, it can't be, because the only part of me that is flesh and blood is the brain in a box that's having this simulated experience of many simulated experiences. That's the core setting to my world. Don't steal it. I'm going to come back to write about it more. This episode was just to try to spin the wheels of introducing those ideas and trying to get it, refine it, honed down to more concise. So I appreciate questions like what Ali writes dropped by. J Turntable, thanks again as well. Have fun with your Monster Mash of whatever you're about to continue playing. I'm going to take a break. This is just the beginning, friends, the tip of the iceberg. I humbly invite you to come on back. And DJ Zed, I humbly ask you to play us a little music as we play off for the evening. Imagine a world where a pair of robots are trapped in your reality. And in order to get by, I'm not done. I feel like I've trashed my voice, and I need to figure out these settings, and I need to test stuff, and I need to go to the store, and I need to make some food because I have nothing to eat if I don't make it. And then I'll be back. So yes, I'm sort of done. And I'm only just getting started. We're really just beginning to fire it all back up again. If you'll note, Jerry Turntable, you may not have realized this, but I have not streamed for like over a week. And then even before that, I was streaming very spotty on and off. And since the turn of the year, on the new year, I really haven't been streaming that often or that consistently. And we are now, as of today, trying to reactivate the daily part of the title. So I'll be back. I'll probably be back later tonight. I just don't know exactly when that will be. You have noticed you get my alerts. Oh good, you got my alerts today, I presume. I'm glad. It may be half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, it may be an hour, it may be 2 hours, but theoretically I'll be back later tonight. I'll probably dive right into playing some Call of Duty, because it feels like a year ago that I played Call of Duty, but it's only been however long. And then we'll keep adding more and more parts of the writing the book series part. Today was a rough and tumble, crazy exploration of a bunch of things, and I like it for what it is. I need to not trash my talking voice. Okay, rock on! Well, I wish you the best of sleep. You know, now that I think of it, I might go to sleep too, because I forget what time it is in the middle of saying things. I was deep in the thought of what I might do next, and didn't remember that it's, I don't know what time it is for you, but it's relatively late for me as well. Either way, friends, it's almost daily for a reason. So join me and or go backwards in time. Like, are you gonna go to sleep soon? Probably, maybe. Do you want to listen to more of me because you're a fan, J Turntable? Then go to that link that we dropped earlier and listen to my podcast while you play monsters. While I'm away making dinner and going to the store, you can listen to my podcast, please and thank you. Just click on the link I just dropped. And you can entertain yourself and think about the crazy things, but be warned. That's even crazier. That's a level different. That's at a whole nother level. The live stream is mostly gaming and or writing the fiction. But you don't have to. But I say that not just to J Turntable, but to anybody who's following along and watching this and hearing the sound of my voice, whether they're watching it live right now on Twitch or in the not too distant future as a clip on one of the many other social media platforms that I might clip and post these widgets to. Come on through. Don't be shy. Say hi. Be good human beings to each other out there in the real world. That's DJ Zed making the music louder and louder, like you know, they do on that awards show to get me to stop talking, because I gotta go. I gotta get myself my tea. Be back soon. Come on through and read my book series, or don't. Come on through and listen to my podcast series, or don't. Come on through and watch me play more video games, or don't. Come on through.